Hi everyone, this is Angela Forker of Precious Baby Photography with my new valYOUable series. Today I have something a bit different for you, but it's something very special for me. While I was on vacation in Maine, I was able to do an interview and photo session with my own beloved father, Jean Raymond. You will be charmed by his stories about his life on a farm in the Big Woods of Canada, told with his thick French accent. He tells about his time as a boy growing up without a phone or a car and helping his father on their farm. And then he tells how his family immigrated to the United States and finishes with how he came to realize that he was valuable. This 81-year-old man is no less valuable today than he was while he and my mom were raising me and my brothers when we were younger. How blessed I am to call him father. I am sure you are going to love his stories.
Hi, my name is Jean Raymond. In Canada, they call me Jean-Claude. Over here, my name got shorter. I've been called all kind of names at different times. But I was born in Canada. The little place was city. It's about 1,400. Yeah, there were 11 of us in the family, and I was born in 1941. All of us had at least 2 years of difference in the age, or some of us 2.5 years, and between my sister Claudette and me, there was almost 3 years. And we went to church and schools, so we went to school about, to go to school we had to walk about a little bit less, maybe 7-8 of miles. In the summer, we walked, we came back to eat at house because at 11:30 we had a break, school break. Then we went back for 1 o'clock. Then from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, that's when the school ended, about 4 o'clock. In the summertime it was easy. In the wintertime we brought our lunch, we ate at the school because of the snow and the roads were not that good. So we didn't want to go back home in the cold and everything else, so we just stayed there. In third grade I had Maria, and she was a very good teacher. She was older, but she had taught my brother Lionel and stayed in school 17 years before me. She was a good teacher. She'd not give us recess in the afternoon and the morning, just the noon part. But she would open windows so we get some fresh air. And she never spanked anybody or slapped anybody or hit them with this. But she had authority. She did not yell. She just had authority. She always dressed the same. She always had a gray skirt and a white blouse. She says, "You'll never know when I change my clothes." But she was always clean, She was a good teacher. When I was in third grade, she had us in row. The 7th grade, 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade. In history and in geography, we were all together. We had the same. So she knew Lionel, and he was good in school, and she knew I could do it too. She pushed me, and every day we would get in rank, and then the one that would give the answers the best, he'd go up. She had me there for 4 days, being the head of the 7th grade, the 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade. She was proud of me, and of course, she was making me proud. Yeah, she was a good teacher. When I was 5 years old, my father brought me to the barn and says, "This is going to be your cow to milk." At first I was not good. It took a little while, and then after a while I got better. Then I got 2 cows, and then 3 cows, and then all the cows I wanted. But there were most of the time there were about 3 of us to milk the cows. When I was 7 years old, I was with my father. My father cut the trees, and then he would put a chain on the logs, and I would drag them to the place what they call the place of guard. That's where you pile the wood. You just bring it there and later on you pile it. Or you cut it and then you pile it. Depends what you do with it. By the time I was 12, my father sat me on the mower. He said, "You're going to mow." There was a team of horses, 2 horses. The mower had a 7-foot blade. It was quite a dangerous thing. But back on the farm, that's what they did back then. We didn't have a tractor until I was 21 years old. To mow it, team of horses, that was not that hard, but except when I had to turn around and things like that. There was a pallet, a lever or rather something to push on to bring the blade up. Then I had to put my weight. At that time I weighed about maybe 95 pounds. I don't know if I weighed that much. Maybe it was more like 90. But it took all my weight to put that blade up. The blade was heavy enough, from the mower, 7 feet is quite long, and it took enough weight on it to move it. But I was able to do it. I was not big, but I was kind of springy. Something like that, wiry, like some people would call it wiry. By the time I got 16, I did everything my father did. When I was 12 years old, I had an axe, and I helped my father cut the trees with the saw. It was what they call a bow saw. Some people call it a box saw, but it was a bow saw. They made like a bow. And when I got 17, my father said, well, we had gotten a lot, about 30 miles from our place, maybe 25 miles, I don't remember. And we went over there with the two-man saw, you know, what they call a gallardor. There was a saw with two handles, one on each end of it. It's about 6 feet tall, long, and got a handle. And you have to be two men to use it, because one man can't, because it would bow like, you know. You got to push and pull at the same time. If you don't do that, you can have a hard time. And then we got a wood lot, 100 acres of wood. We had some big trees there. Some of them like 36 inches. At first we just had a team of horses, but then a few years later we had a little tractor. And some of those trees were so big that we had to get my brother-in-law to haul them, because the little tractor could not haul them. On Saturday night, my sister, Yvonne, we called it sit. She lived in Notre Dame du Lac, about 30 miles from our house. Now we did not see cars many often coming on our road, so we watched for the lights at night. Saturday night to see if they were coming. They would come and spend the night with us and stay with us on the next day, on Sunday. And then more sisters were married, so when they came, we were getting together just like we're doing over here now. There would be a lot of people. Yeah, it was a hard life, but there were some good times. The good times were when we get together. When my sisters came over with their children, it was always good. Then we hated to see them leave, you know, just like we do now.
Yeah.
When we see you leave and your children. And the holidays were nice. Christmas was not a holiday for us like another one. It was just the birth of Jesus. We went to church, and there was two masses. There was the midnight mass, and there was a mass of that they call lower hour, like towards morning. We left about, so maybe we left home about 8:30. Back then we did not have a car, so we had a horse and sleigh. And we came home about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So we were tired. The next day we did not feel that good. And we'd have some oranges and some nuts, some peanuts for Christmas. Peanuts in a shell. But that was our Christmas just about. But that was always nice. The Christmas Mass was beautiful. The songs were beautiful. And we loved it. New Year's, that's when we got together, and that's when we had our presents. So when I was real young, when I was about 6 years old, we went to New Year's. We would have a present, but then we went to my uncle, Uncle Octave. He was my mother's brother. And we went there for Christmas, for New Year's, the meal. And back then, it was not the way it is now. If somebody did something like that, all the young girls were washing dishes and serving the table. The old people would eat first, not just the old people, all the adults. Starting with the old ones and the older ones, and everybody got to the table. The other table about probably, I don't know, 24 feet long. You know, sections of table that they put together. And all the young people would eat last. And then at the kings, you know, les rois, la fête des rois, Magi, we would go to my other uncle for les rois. And they would have a meal over there too. They did the same thing. And they would not just invite the relative, they would invite the neighbors too, the people they knew.
Oh.
Neighbors around, they would invite them. It was interesting, it was beautiful. It was not, you know, like what you see today, because there was no TV, and a lot of people did not probably have a radio. But we were getting together, and there was a feast. There was something, you know, not just the food, but there was something that you were happy to be all together, and some people would sing, and some people would play the piano. My uncle had a piano. Well, I say a piano, it's a pump organ.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they would have there, but that's what we did. In the winter time, we walked in a snowbank, we made fort, made some hole in the ground, made tunnels. Sometimes those tunnels were barely big enough for us to get by from one side to the other.
Wow.
We could have been stuck. My mother didn't know that. In 1963, my father his jobs were done in Quebec City, so he came back to work on a farm. I was 22 years old. So I told them, I'm going to be leaving there. Well, I'm not sure where I'm going, either Quebec City or Montreal. So I went to Quebec, went there for a week, didn't find a job really that would pay. So I came back home, and then my father said, well, what we're going to do? We're all going to take a visa and go to the United States. So I came here in 1963. I started working at the mill. I worked there for 40 years. But before that, 1964, I met Doreen, and in the spring, we got engaged. In September 18, we got married. There were times in my life where I felt I was valuable. At other times, I felt like I was not. I think like everybody else. But back in 1985, and at that time I quit the Catholic Church and I went to Protestant Church. At that time, I was not sure I was doing the right thing, but not too far after that, I realized that I was at the right place. I felt like I had done the right thing, and I felt more valuable. It's going to that church every Sunday, and being the Bible. That's what brought me to the point where I felt more worthy, more valuable. And I was thinking I was doing the right thing. And I felt good about things,
Mm-hmm.
I felt the presence of God around me. I felt at ease with the way things were going, And when I was working, I thought I was doing the right thing, no matter what I was doing. We had some good and hard times. We had the good and the bright side. But for the most part, it was good.